I apologise for the sound issues there, but here we are. We're here. There's over 100 people in the live chat already, which is, I apologise for the no sound. Connor Sullivan says, unsubscribe. Look, the wait is finally over. 72 days after the dismissal of Jose Mourinho, Tottenham have officially confirmed the appointment of Nuno Espirito Santo. He is the new manager of the club. And this, look, we've been waiting so long for this. It is an underwhelming appointment. There's no doubt about that. Nobody's going to deny it. But as I said in my stream this morning, as I said with regards to the entire situation with hashtag no to Nuno and all this crap, Nuno Espirito Santo is the manager of Spurs, and we need to 100% get behind him. Now, as I was saying there, the odds are still beside me. The various stories are still down below me. I was preparing for a stream at 9 o'clock to talk about the potential of Nuno Espirito Santo joining the club, to talk about any transfers that may possibly be coming with him. And look, we're in a very different situation now because the appointment is official. He is the manager. So we're going to take a look at the statement that Tottenham have put out on Twitter. Like I said, in the last 10 minutes on the official website, Tottenham have said, "We are delighted to announce the appointment of Nuno Espirito Santo as our new head coach on a contract until 2023. Nuno arrives following a 4-year spell at Wolverhampton Wanderers, where he guided the club from the Championship into the Premier League and secured consecutive 7th place finishes in their first 2 seasons back in the top flight, their highest league positions since 1980. He also restored the Molineux outfit to European competition, leading them to the quarter-finals of the Europa League in 2019-20. In tandem with Wolves' progress on the pitch, Nuno developed individual players such as Connor Cody, Diogo Jota, Ruben Neves, Willy Bolly, and our own Matt Doherty from the second tier into established Premier League and European talent, while also furthering the development of players such as Raul Jimenez, Pedro Neto, and Adama Traore. Earlier in his coaching career, Nuno guided Portuguese side Rio Ave to 2 cup finals and qualification for the Europa League for the first time in their history before taking over at Valencia in 2014, where he steered the Spanish outfit to Champions League football with a 4th place finish in La Liga. A former goalkeeper in his playing days, he subsequently spent 1 season in charge of one of his former clubs, Porto, where the team finished 2nd and lost only 2 league games all season under his stewardship. Chairman Daniel Levy has said, "First of all, I'd like to welcome Nuno to the club. We should like to thank all our supporters for all their patience throughout this process. I've spoken already about the need to revert back to our core DNA of playing attacking, entertaining football, and Fabio and I believe Nuno is the man who can take our talented group of players, embrace our young players coming through, and build something special." Commenting on the appointment, manager director of football Fabio Paratici said, "The brief for this appointment has always been clear. We wanted a head coach that can instill all the values that are important to this football club. You only have to look at Nuno's time at Wolves to see his ability to take a group of players and implement an adaptive style that brings success and allows players to develop and thrive. We are all looking forward to getting started in what we hope will be a successful time with the club." Speaking on his appointment, Nuno Espirito Santo, his first words as the official head coach of Tottenham Hotspur, Nuno has said, "When you have a squad with quality and talent, we want to make the fans proud and enjoy. It's an enormous pleasure and honour to be here. There's joy and I'm happy and looking forward to starting work. We don't have any days to lose and we must start working immediately as pre-season starts in a few days." Those are the first words of Nuno Espirito Santo as the manager, as the head coach of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, as this evening Spurs confirm his appointment. Thank you very much for the super chats that are coming in there. I'm just going to get to those very quickly. Bobby with the £2, Bob, thank you so much. Says, "Best tonic ever. Hashtag welcome Nuno. Come on, you Spurs." And Bobby, I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're feeling okay after the scare you had overnight. So everyone, let's get some well wishes in the live chat for Bobby. Hey, with the $5. Thank you very much for that. Says, "Finally, manager circus is over. Wanted Poch, loved Conte. I'm optimistic about Nuno. Let's go and now can't wait for this season. Only 4 weeks away." I agree. We need to be optimistic. We need to get excited. We need to get behind this head coach. Hey, thank you very much for the super chat. Aglea Kakaratis, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. £20 says, "Here's cash to help your channel, Matty. And let's all celebrate Nuno Espirito Santo. Let's all hail Nuno and let's get some signings in now." And that's it. We turn our focus now to the transfer window, as we'll I was going to start the stream at 9, so we're going to run through a bit longer than usual to allow our 9 o'clock guests to come on. We'll have David Harris, the Irish Hotspur, we'll have Jack Kanicki, and we'll have Stuart Gallop as well. So there'll be some fantastic chat there about this appointment. But Aglea, thank you very much for the super chat. Paul Markey with the €5 says want his first signing to be Frank Kezia, and that's one we will be discussing, as Frank Kezia's agent tells Tuttosport that Tottenham are interested in the player. But Paul, thank you for the super chat. And we also have one from Dermot Moyles with the €2 said, feel like a letdown, but I will back him. Come on, you Spurs. Dermot, thank you for the super chat, and I do fully agree with that one. It is a bit of a letdown. It is underwhelming compared to the managers that we were initially linked with, but it's a manager nonetheless. It's been a while since we've had one, as we say, 72 days since the dismissal of Jose Mourinho, and now Nuno Espirito Santo is in place and has been confirmed the manager of Spurs. Sorry, Ellie, thank you for the super chat. Look, let's take our breath, because I was preparing for another stream and this all came out, so I jumped on this as quickly as possible. But this is the time to get together as a fan base, to get together as a football club and back this manager. All the problems, all the issues, and all the qualms that we have with the board and that we have with the scouting network, and maybe even with Fabio Paratici in his attempts to bring Gennaro Gattuso to the club, none of that matters when it comes to our support and the way we look at Nuno Espirito Santo. He is a manager who is extremely talented, who does have a lot of qualities, perhaps not in the way that Tottenham fans would want things to happen, but in a way that could be effective. And I said it on my stream this morning, us sitting here now talking about Nuno Espirito Santo, we're going to be singing a very different tune to what we would have been singing 12 months ago, when Santo had just led Wolves to their second consecutive 7th place finish. Of course, got them to the quarterfinal of the Europa League. A lot went wrong for Wolves in the past 12 months that caused him to maybe become a more pragmatic manager, sit back a bit deeper and play kind of an uglier brand of football. Killian Kenny, good to see you in the live chat. The sale of Diogo Jota, the sale of Matt Doherty, and of course the horrible injury suffered by Raul Jimenez. With all these different things, it made it a lot more difficult for Nuno to really play the type of football that he wanted, or to kind of bring the brand that he wanted to bring to Wolves. So we need to realise that what we saw in the last 12 months isn't exactly what we are going to get. And Alistair Gold has been speaking about just how Fabio Paratici managed to convince Daniel Levy that Nuno Espirito Santo was the man to lead Spurs. And what we were hearing towards the end of the last week, when this deal apparently fell through, was that Daniel Levy was quite worried about this appointment, in almost in the way of Gattuso, in the fact that he didn't think the fans would be entirely backing this deal. And he was worried about the reaction of the fans, he said, when they first got into the ground, that first game against Manchester City, how the fans will react, what the kind of atmosphere in the stadium would be. And Fabio Paratici then set out to convince Daniel Levy that Nuno Espirito Santo was the best man to lead Spurs, and he did that by showing Daniel Levy exactly what Nuno Espirito Santo achieved at Valencia, and that was a very, very good team that played very attacking football. And ultimately that is why Daniel Levy has decided to go with this appointment. It's not him going back on his word or anything like him kind of folding under the pressure. He has been convinced by Fabio Paratici that Nuno Espirito Santo is the man for Spurs, and Paratici has had previous interest in Santo. Fabrizio Romano has told us in the last week or so that Paratici actually wanted to bring Nuno Espirito Santo to Juventus last year, before he eventually had to bring in Andrea Pirlo, having failed to prize the Portuguese manager away from Wolves. And I think as all of these things are coming together, as all these different stories are kind of beginning to make sense and come into one, we do start to question, did Nuno Espirito Santo actually leave Wolves for this job? As much as things nearly did fall through, there was a lot of confusion and a lot of surprise around the Premier League and the Wolves fan base, especially when this deal, when Nuno Espirito Santo announced that he would be leaving Wolves. So did he do it knowing this was in the pipeline? Did he do it knowing this could be a place where he could end up? Look, who knows? But all we do need to know is that he is the new manager of Spurs. Ganesh with the $5 super chat, thank you very much for that, Ganesh, says, after this manager circus, I'm excited about Nuno. Don't know if I'd be this happy if we appointed him back in April or May. Amazing season ahead. Come on, you Spurs. And I do think with what you're saying there is an element of kind of relief that we just simply have a manager, because for so long we were really wondering, was it actually going to be maybe Ryan Mason beginning preseason training as an interim head coach before he took up his actual role with the under 18 side. Nobody knew where this was going and nobody knew what was going to happen, so there is just a sense of relief that we have a manager regardless of who it is. But there is of course positives to the manager that we are bringing in. And just to, I've seen there's a lot of new people in the live chat here. We've nearly 500 viewers. Please smash that like button and please do subscribe as well if you are new. We are on the road to 10k before the season starts. I'm just going to bring to you again the announcement that Spurs have made. They put out on Twitter and on their official website welcoming Nuno Espirito Santo to the club. They're touching on his previous accomplishments. They've said, in tandem with Wolves' progress on the pitch, Nuno developed individual players such as Connor Cody, Diogo Jota, Ruben Neves, Willy Bolly, and our own Matt Doherty from second tier into established Premier League and European talent, while also furthering the development of players such as Raul Jimenez, Pedro Neto, and Adama Traore. Now, you do have to kind of start looking at different things with regards to why this deal didn't fall through, or this deal didn't go through initially. And some people were saying that it was a case of Nuno perhaps not being the best with youth, and Daniel Levy being worried that he couldn't make the best out of the youth players that we have. But looking at that, the club seemed convinced that he can work well with youth. And you look at some players that we have that are coming back on loan, and Harrison saying, "How have I got Neff in that skill game?" I'll just turn that off. I've just messed about, I swear. But you look at the likes of Oliver Skipp and Ryan Sessegnon coming back from their respective loans at Hoffenheim and Norwich, who really do have a chance to get into this first team now. Ryan Sessegnon as a wing back who will really thrive in the system that Nuno Espirito Santo implemented to such great effect in his first couple of seasons at Wolves. Oliver Skipp, who was just an extremely talented midfielder who had an incredible season at Norwich last season. Now we all know he's been seen house hunting in Norwich. I'm sure a lot of potential transfers and stuff will have changed with regards to what players will be coming in, what players will be going out, and what players Nuno will actually want to use in this team. Well, these players now are potentially in with a very good chance of being in this team. Like I say, Sessegnon especially could really thrive. And if we're looking at other players that might thrive in this team, well, Matt Doherty is the first one that stands out because he became the player that he was, the reason Spurs signed him, because of Nuno Espirito Santo. Playing in that three at the back, at a side that really, really relied on wing-backs, but especially down that right-hand side, Matt Doherty became absolutely fantastic. And that is the reason that Spurs went out and spent the 15-20 million pounds on him to bring him to Spurs. And Cenk from the Spurs web actually put up a very good post a while ago looking at some players that could really thrive under Nuno Espirito Santo. And before we get into that, Paul Markey, thank you for the €5 super chat, says the fact that Paratici was able to convince Levy is a major milestone at Tottenham. And that again is something we do need to look at, because there was a lot of doubt within Tottenham that Paratici wouldn't really be able to fully control the football side of things, because Daniel Levy just wouldn't give up that power, and he would like to get involved, and he did essentially. He's the one who said no to Gattuso. He's the one who almost said no to Nuno Espirito Santo. But I do think it is a landmark that Paratici has been able to convince Daniel Levy that perhaps he knows better, and he's gone now with Paratici's options. So I do agree with that point. Thank you for the super chat as well, Paul. Hey says, Matt, now we have our manager. What is a realistic target for league and cup competition this season? I reckon it'll be tough to finish top four. Again, thank you for the $5. I do appreciate it. I think top four is out of the question now, regardless of what way our transfer window goes. Realistically, I think I've been saying it a lot. As much as we can talk about how good we are and kind of what point we should get to in the league, we do also have to look at the fact that Manchester City are getting better and better. Liverpool going to be back to their best. Chelsea making some fantastic signings. United wrapping up that deal for Sancho. I think we're just behind the rest of those teams, but maybe a year or two down the line, whether it's Nuno Espirito Santo, I hope it is Nuno Espirito Santo. But yeah, I don't think top four is an option now. I see a lot of people getting confused about the news at the bottom. Like I said, this is a stream I was preparing for later when he was announced. It has been officially announced, as you can see in the text box just below me. So the Spurs web talking about 3 players that could really thrive under Nuno Espirito Santo, and I really recommend everybody to go and follow them on Twitter. Cenk, who's been on this channel a number of times, put this together. Joe Rodon is the first one. He says, with Nuno Espirito Santo primarily utilising a back three at Wolves, Joe Rodon will certainly fit into the description. A mixture of a ball-playing yet aggressive central defender, the 23-year-old had a pretty impressive Euro 2020 display against the likes of Turkey and Italy, and he'll want that consistent football at Spurs for sure. I can see him operating all across the back three. We didn't quite see Rodon under Mourinho, but I certainly think he'll do great things in Nuno's system. Him, alongside a new signing, potentially Takahiro Tamiyasu, could flow really well. The future of Joe Rodon under Nuno remains exciting, and it could well be a great link-up at Tottenham. We've seen some great glimpses of the young defender, and hopefully it continues at Spurs. Cenk also says that Giovanni Lo Celso could thrive under Santo. After seeing Nuno produce some of the finest midfield talent in the Premier League, I believe that his coaching will filter down to Lo Celso. We saw Ruben Neves, João Moutinho and Leander Dendoncker develop really well Even the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White had a great spell of football at one point. My main thinking behind this choice is because of Lo Celso's transitional play. He is a fantastic ball carrier and would fit very well into Nuno's system, as he has proven to be a fantastic long distance ball carrier. I think Lo Celso will be best operating in a 3-5-2 rather than a 3-4-3, so this is largely dependent on the shape he persists with the most. But overall, I think he's another player who has a bright future under our manager. We're going to look at what Cenk had to say about Sergio Reguilon as well. But Brad Matthews coming in with a £5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Brad. Says, what do you reckon? Or a bit of a short contract. What do you reckon? It is a short contract. Nuno has signed a 2-year contract at Spurs, so it's running until 2023. Look, I mean, I don't think there's too much to read into that. I know a lot of Spurs fans, a lot of the conspiracy theorists are going to be talking about the fact that Mauricio Pochettino is going to be, or could potentially be, out of contract at PSG in 2 years. So maybe we could go back to that. But look, as Adam says, 2 years is normal now. You don't typically get managers who get a really long spell of time at a club. The few that spring to mind immediately is Alan Pardew signing his 8-year contract at Newcastle, and I think he was gone to Crystal Palace in a matter of months. And Roberto Di Matteo as well, coming in as interim manager at Chelsea, winning the Champions League, signing a 5-year deal and being sacked before Christmas that year. So it doesn't always go well when you have those long-term contracts, but I wouldn't read too much into the fact that it is a short-term contract. Leonard with the 35 rand as well, the super chat, says, I'm a massive fan of Nuno, and Spurs were right in stating the development of players under Nuno. His specialties are in playing to players' strengths. Leonard, thank you for that super chat. And a good point there as well. His specialties are in playing to players' strengths. Adama Traore was a player who really struggled to get that final product, couldn't put those balls in, couldn't really get himself on the score sheet, and he just simply told him, run it, players, just run, get past men, do what you can from there. And they really heavily relied on Adama Traore, which is, I think, where a lot of the development of Matt Doherty really came in there as well, because they were right down that right-hand side and utilising Doherty. They were putting balls into the box for Raul Jimenez in the air, and allowing, of course, Neves and Moutinho to control the game in the middle of the park. I really agree with you there, Leonard. And in of course the last couple of weeks, the last couple of days, as this one has looked more realistic, we've been looking at the positives and the negatives. I think we just need to focus on the positives now, because there's nothing we can do about this. There's nothing that is going to change. Not that I would want to change it. I mean, he's in now. We might as well go for it. So look, let's look at the positives as much as we can. Wasp Zero says, well done, Matt. I believe you are first with the news. Good job. Thank you very much for that. And I get first the news as much as I possibly can. So I'm seeing a lot of new names in the live chat. Please do hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. We'll be bringing on some guests very, very shortly to discuss this appointment of Nuno Espirito Santo. And also, you'll be kept up to date with all of Tottenham's transfer dealings throughout the summer. If you do hit that subscribe button down below. We're on the road to 10k before the season starts, as I keep on saying. So let's see if we can get there. But for now, let's focus on getting to 9.2k on the stream tonight. We're 11 subscribers away. So please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And yes, that final player that Cenk was talking about on the Spurs web, one who could really thrive under Nuno Espirito Santo, is Sergio Reguilon. Sergio has certainly had an up and down time in a Spurs shirt, but for the majority of it, the Spanish fullback has been excellent. He epitomises a modern player with high energy levels and a superb attacking output. He is due to shine under Nuno. The Portuguese manager has a heavy emphasis on attacking wing-backs, and I believe Sergio will be crucial for him. We saw the likes of Doherty, Johnny and Vinagre shine under him, and that excites me looking at Reguilon's skill set. The 24-year-old will certainly be looking to thrive under Nuno, and you cannot fault his work rate either. This could be a match made in heaven for the two, and I certainly hope it is, because Reguilon, I think at the beginning of last season, was at his best and then began to fade. But what I would say to that is, I'll get back to that in a sec, because we have an update here from Fabrizio Romano. Nuno was not in Spurs' plans. Then Paratici's arrival as new director of football changed the situation. Nuno was on his list at Juve 1 year ago. Paratici says Nuno has ability to take a group of players, an adaptive style that brings success and helps to develop. So Romano, they're confirming that Nuno Espirito Santo was not on the initial list that Steve Hitchen drew up to try and get Tottenham's manager in. But it was Fabio Paratici who made that happen. Dara saying, could you confirm it's still 1-9 in powers? It's not. Like I said, all these things around me were here already, and I wanted to get this stream out as quickly as possible. So I didn't change it, but I probably should. I'll take away the scrolling text at the bottom, because I don't want to confuse people. Jeffrey there, thank you very much for subscribing. We've got a few super chats coming in as well. Ellie with the £10. Ellie, thank you again very much for that. Really appreciate it. says, majority of our fans are right behind Nuno, and I'm so happy we finally got our man, the Portuguese Wolverine. It's good to see fans getting behind him as well. I was just scrolling through Twitter there as I saw Fabrizio Romano's update as well. Look, I see a tweet now that it's done. Let's get behind Nuno, please. And just basically a lot of comments that are welcoming Nuno Espirito Santo and supporting his appointment at the club. Jason Whale with the £5. Thank you very much for that. Jason says, Levy laughing his head off at Spurs today. Defensive coaching his only strength, and Levy wants him to play attacking. Square pegs equal round holes. Well, I personally don't think defensive coaching is his only strength. But first, Jason, thank you for that super chat. I have seen square pegs round holes, that phrase thrown around quite a bit today. But look, I think we have to be optimistic. As we said, Fabio Paratici convinced Daniel Levy that Nuno Espirito Santo was the man by showing him the attacking football that he managed to get his Valencia side playing a few years back. So he does have that in his repertoire, and you do have to remember that in those first couple of seasons in the Premier League with Wolves, he played very good football, and it was effective football as well, getting results, and it was praised quite a bit, especially that year when they were kind of fighting for European football with Sheffield United. The two of them were praised for being kind of weaker teams compared to the ones that they were competing with up at the top of the Premier League, but still playing really progressive football. And football that you just wouldn't quite expect from a team who've just been promoted, and from a team that doesn't have the strength that the squads around it does. They were really optimistic, and it really worked for them. So I do think we do have to look at the positive sides of Nuno Espirito Santo as well. Just 1 second, I was trying to sort out these guests. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat on this appointment of Nuno Espirito Santo. Let's get your thoughts in here. We will be doing a members call-in show over the next couple of days to get your opinion. To get your opinion on Nuno Espirito Santo and exactly how you feel about him, because I can sit here and ramble all I want, and I can get various YouTubers on, but I think the best thing is the opinion of the fans, the opinion of the viewers, because that is the kind of a bigger representative of the fan base. We got Brian Ireland here from Tottenham Away in the live chat, says Wolves smashed us on a few occasions, and that is very true. We were humbled quite a few times by Nuno Espirito Santo's Wolves. The one game I remember in particular was at Wembley, when Harry Kane, that fantastic left-footed strike, put us 1-0 up, and in the second half Wolves ran away with the game and beat us 3-1. We had a couple of wins at Molineux under his time, but I think they were quite difficult wins. I think a 3-2 and a 2-1 with Vertonghen scoring a late header in the latter. But yes, no, I agree with you there, Brian. We were humbled by him quite a few times. Matt in Full Vision says, actually, Nuno likes to play on the front foot. Wolves found it a bit difficult last season, but he's attack-minded. We got a new channel member, Super Early Birds. Apologise if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but welcome to the championship level membership. It's great to see you join. And like I said, we will be doing that member call-in show in the next couple of days, so please do keep an eye out for that. I'd love to put a face to the name and get you on that. But without further ado, let's get on the absolute football genius himself, making his debut on the channel. And I apologise to Jack earlier for leaving it this long, but let's bring in Jack Hinicki. Jack, first of all, welcome to the stream. How are you getting on?
Have it this early, I thought it would be kind of subbed in maybe 90th minute for something, do a job, but it's an honor. Thank you, Matt.
It's an honor to have you, really. But look, let's dive straight into things, Jack. It's a sentence we didn't think we'd be saying for a while, but Tottenham Hotspur have a manager, or officially a head coach. Nuno's in. How do you feel?
I mean, to be honest, some of us probably got used to kind of the sick torture of it, right? Where, you get a little sick pleasure out of it, of not having a manager. But, me, I was practically in tears over Conte not coming. So the sooner we got somebody, the better. Now we can focus on the transfers, especially you, Maddie. Now you can actually, have some transfers that seem to be realistic, or at least you can, wrap your brain around it a bit more. So I think it's a relief for all of us. So I am absolutely relieved. And I will say maybe quickly, with Nuno, he has a bit of that stoic, wise look to him. He's got that glorious beard as well, right? He's kind of almost I believe it was Barney Ronay from The Guardian likened him to like a Jedi master, like kind of guarding his team. And I would much rather have the Jedi master than maybe the Harry Potter that is Graham Potter.
I think there's a lot of Spurs fans there who'll be in the same same mindset. I saw that you called that Jack Kinekalenko. I think we know who you're supporting in that game on Friday.
I originally obviously supporting the Croatians, and I was Jack Kinikic. Now they've been knocked out, So I got to support my original dark horses, the Ukrainians. So move myself to Anenko. Yeah, that would be a dream if this was my surname. This would be an absolute dream.
Look, you can change it. It's legal. We've Dara here coming in the €5 super chat. Says the person in this club that knows the most about winning is the director of football. So for me, I'm going to trust him until he proves me wrong. Welcome to Spurs, Nuno. Jack, thank you very much, or Dara, thank you very much for that super chat. And Jack, kind of following on from that point, I don't know if you saw Romano's update in the last 10 or so minutes, but he confirmed that Nuno Espirito Santo was not on Tottenham's list when we first started our hunt for a manager. So are you happy that it's almost confirmed that Paratici has really been the one going with this manager hunt?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have somebody maybe take the reins off of Levy for sure, especially since Levy is, going to negotiate whatever price, how many Cokes they want, per month, pretty much to every sentence. He's going to make it difficult for any manager. Whereas it seems like with Paratici, right, the moment he's supposed to be arriving, the moment he's actually officially coming into the club, the moment the manager also arrives as well. So it shows that, he's an efficient man. He will put in whatever it takes to sign a manager, also maybe to ease us from the pain. So I will say Paratici's already maybe won plenty of hearts and just easing us from this pain already. In the moment that he comes back into the team officially, it kind of feels like he's always been a part of the club. And so maybe I've been a bit hard on him, but he's not really, right. He's not really been officially a part of the club or officially working for the club yet. And so maybe I've been criticizing him in the past for maybe his overtime work, which I do apologize, Fabio. But yeah, it is an absolute relief. The fact that it wasn't maybe an original manager on the list, maybe you want to start high, then go a bit lower. But I am relieved. It is not Gattuso. I am relieved. It is not maybe now Harry Potter. Just considering his recent comments about him waiting for the Man City job, just make me think that he is delusional. Nuno, what a beautiful stoic man to finally get behind.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And like it is, I think for me, I don't know if you agree, but a lot of Spurs fans would, that it is to some extent an underwhelming appointment,
right?
Because we seemed so long that it was a case of Pochettino or Conte. It turned out to be neither of them, but it is an appointment that is better than it seems because of the general feeling around the Spurs fan base and the general atmosphere at the moment. But Bobby here with the £5 super chat says, you can't make it up. Spurs released a video short on YouTube with Nuno's first word to the fans. It gets shared and now it's private. Brilliant. Well, I haven't gotten a chance to see that yet, Bobby, but that is typical Spurs. I will just go back to the statement from Tottenham to get the official first words of Nuno Espirito Santo as Tottenham manager. But before we do get to there, let's bring Stuart Gallop in. Stuart, welcome to the stream. How are you getting on?
Hello, gents.
Hey, how are you doing?
The wait is over. The wait is over. And I'm talking about England beating Germany. Who cares about Nuno?
As long as you don't say it's coming home on the stream, you can say whatever you want, Stuart.
I'm not like that, mate. That song does my nutting.
I'm glad to hear it. But look, Stuart, before we get your opinions on the appointment of Nuno, let's look at his first words as Tottenham head coach. He said, when you have a squad with quality and talent, we want to make the fans proud and for them to enjoy. It's an enormous pleasure and honour to be here. There's joy and I'm happy and looking forward to starting work. We don't have any days to lose and we must start working immediately as pre-season starts in a few days. Stuart, he's the man. He's now the head coach of Tottenham. How do you feel?
I'm quite happy. I remember going on the We Are Tottenham TV show. God, I mean, when was that? I mean, that was not too long after the end of the season. And so at that point, I was, he's not Pochettino or whatever, but in terms of what I'd seen of him over his time at Wolves, and what he'd done with players and how he set teams up and how difficult he was to play against and stuff, I wasn't complaining at the time, and I'm not really complaining now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of how we feel is based on the fact that at one point we were going to have Pochettino back, and then at another point we were going to have Conte. And then if you look at it through that lens, there's going to be an element of disappointment. But I just wanted someone in, and I wanted someone in for pre-season, because that team going into last season was so unfit and so unprepared that at least we're going to have someone who actually believes in fitness, because his teams, whatever you say about them, they're fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So ultimately, happy Matt.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad there's someone who's absolutely positive, or two people who are absolutely positive, because I've been looking towards those negatives perhaps a bit too much. But Jack, I suppose following on from a point there that Stuart made, that his team, they run a lot, they're fit, they fully buy into things. I was on Last Word on Spurs at the weekend, and I made the point that as much as the board and the kind of transfer strategy within this club could be forcing managers to perhaps feel it's not the best place for them, I do think the players play a part in that as well, because you can see how easily they gave up on Pochettino and how easily they kind of packed it in during Jose Mourinho's reign. Would you fear that the lack of a big name in this manager that we're bringing in, and without disrespecting him, the lack of caliber of a manager that he is, would you feel that maybe Spurs that the players won't quite buy into all of that?
That's a dangerously good question, but I will maybe be, again, optimistic and say, but I'll first digress and say, I mean, who's to know with this group of players? They do seem to have their kind of little cults and little factions that they all seem to get behind, especially when times are rough, even after one loss. It seems to be that way, where they just get back into their little cliques and, seem to create something. They all seem to have their own little reporter that they might even report to as well, when times are rough. But what seems to be maybe different or unique about Nuno is that he takes supposedly a much more hands-on approach when it comes to his training methods. He's not necessarily coaching or training or managing from the background. He's deliberately, almost kind of like how Zidane was, to a degree, where Zidane was the one deliberately, giving the layoffs for their, like finishing training and stuff like that. Nuno is similar, where he's deliberately on the touchline, talking and speaking to the players. He doesn't, delegate as much to his assistant managers to do things. He very much needs to be there, in the midst of the players, discussing and telling them what to do. And he also, as well, he supposedly, maybe similar to what people liked about Graham Potter, he takes the psychology of players very importantly, or he takes it, very to heart. And I also maybe appreciate that. He said, like, even the way he punishes players for arriving late, he doesn't just fine them. He finds a way to maybe make them learn from it. I think it's things like that might be different, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think you're muted, Maddie.
Sorry, thanks. I was going to say a positive answer to that question that's given me a bit more hope with every word that comes out of there. But look, we have the legend that is David Harris, the Irish Hotspur, in here. David, first of all, how are you? And second of all, how do you feel about Nuno Espirito Santo, the head coach of Tottenham Hotspur?
Yeah, look, first of all, thanks for asking me on, Matty. It's been a while. We've done so much to get it through the season. It's been a while. I'm glad to be back on, my man. Look, with Nuno, I get it. To some people, it could be underwhelming. Look, it's a bit, I'll hold my hands up. It's a bit underwhelming to me, but we have to back this guy 100% as fans. We have to get behind him. It's not his fault that, everything else that went on. He's took the job where no one else wanted it. We have to back this guy and get behind him. And look, we could have got a hell of a lot worse. Like, Spurs fans were arguing over Scotty Starstruck and Harry Potter, back at the end of the season to see who was coming in. So it could have been a hell of a lot worse. For me, it's an in-between between Pochettino and Conte, Scotty Starstruck and Harry Potter. Nuno falls in the middle. And I just have a sneaky suspicion it might work out, I do. I have a sneaky suspicion it might work out. Look, I'm just delighted to have a manager in, because the reason why none of the channels have really touched anything on transfers or anything else is because we were never, ever going to be able to buy anybody or get out the Deadwood when we had no manager. We had to bring in a manager and see what he wanted to work with first, see what players he needs, that he could put forward for his system. So it just means now that we can go full ahead with pre-season and pre-season plans. We can go full steam now ahead in the transfer market. Look, it's a bit late. We should have been in transfer market a lot earlier, but that's all on Daniel Levy. We're talking about Nuno now, and I just think it's very important we get behind him. And I know a lot of people are going to judge him off his last season at Wolves. You can't really take much from that. His main man up front, Jimenez, was out for most of the season. He ended up playing with an 18-year-old that's bought from Portugal, who was nowhere near ready for Premier League. And also, we have to remember, look at what he done with Adama Traore. Nobody wanted to touch him before he went to Wolves. He was at Aston Villa and stuff like that, and it was people saying he's a bit of a problem. That's why he wasn't, at Barcelona anymore and stuff like that. And look what he done to him. He's gotten focused on football and, turned him into a player that many people want. He managed. Look, I know he had the agent and money at Wolves as well, but he managed to get in Neves, João Moutinho, players that Spurs were linked with before. You know what I mean? So this guy would have a bit of pull. And I think, look, like I said, it's not the best appointment we could have had, but in a way I'm happy with it because it could have been a hell of a lot worse. It was only a few weeks ago we were all sitting there Googling Fonseca. So, look, we have to back it 100% at the end of the day. We've had enough negativity over the summer, even long before that. We've had enough negativity around Tottenham now ever since Poch got sacked, really. Now's a time where we can kind of clean the slate, you know what I mean, and we get behind the manager and see what we can do going into next season.
Yeah, and just to follow on from your point there, David, absolutely love the positivity with Cody Mack and Brian Ireland here in the chat, wondering what's going on that you're so positive about Nuno. But from one of the points you made, and Chicha makes there in the live chat as well, he convinced Ruben Neves to go to the Championship. This is Ruben Neves, who was attracting interest from Barcelona, Real Madrid, some of the biggest clubs around the world. And obviously, it's not just Nuno that got that deal done. There was a lot of convincing behind the scenes. But it was still Nuno's team that managed to convince him to go to the Championship. And look at him now, one of the best Portuguese midfielders there is. We've a few super chats here. Jason Whale says, with £5, Matt, this is just a Levy and Nuno loving, guys. I get we have to get behind the manager, but seriously, Nuno, please talk. We're talking about the positives as well, Jason. I appreciate the super chat, and by no means will you ever find a Daniel Levy loving on this channel, but with Nuno right now, maybe you will. We've Bob Stewart the £5 as well. It says, let's hope we're all pleasantly surprised with Nuno. He could not have asked for more of a gorgeous lad to welcome him to the club. And Stuart. Now, those are Bobby's words, not mine. So I apologise for that, Stuart. But thank you, Bobby, for the super chat. I do appreciate it.
Nice.
And transfers and the players that he had at Wolves. Yeah, Bobby, hope you're feeling better soon. But speaking of transfers and the players that Nuno had at Wolves, if you could pick 3 players to bring in, or David, you have something to say?
Yeah, just quickly before we let Stuart in, I don't want to be a camera hog, but just somewhat, I just want to make this clear. I am not for Levy. Let me make this clear now. Don't get me construed. I am not for Levy. I think everyone knows what I think of him. I don't think he's a good chairman for the club anymore. He's not anymore, and I want him gone. But where I'm coming from is we've had so much negativity. You know what I mean? And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes that affects me, all that negativity. You know what I mean? I don't want to be talking about negative things about Tottenham 24/7 all the time. Now, look, granted, they've given us nothing but negatives to talk about for the last while. But, we're after getting a manager in. Let's see what direction we're going to go in. We can still hate Levy, but back Nuno. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Sorry for cutting across. Sorry, Stuart. I just wanted to get that out.
That's fine. I totally agree, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, it's actually quite nice to talk about something other than Enoch out and Daniel Levy and all that stuff. Not that we need to ignore it,
right,
and it's not still a big issue, but it's good to talk about something else because that hasn't changed. It might not change in the weeks or months ahead. The only thing that will change is having a new manager in and potentially a new positive way of playing compared to the bloody Mourinho era and getting some results, because the only thing that will change all of our mindsets, all of our positive, negative attitudes is results. If we get going and we go on a positive run, then the whole vibe of the whole club changes. We've gone through a bloody rough patch ever since Poch left. It's been a nightmare, and even before that, because under Poch, that last 6 months or so was really, really bad. There was so much stuff going on behind the scenes that was being rumoured, and it was being shown in how he was being as a manager, and then obviously he left, and then ever since then it just went downhill. So for me, it's just like, this is the point. And the thing I wanted to say was, I was speaking to a mate of mine yesterday who's a Spurs fan, and I said I would not be surprised if, as of tomorrow, which is the 1st of July, which is Paratici's official start date, we will have the manager in on that day. And lo and behold, it's happened. He's walking in the door on his first official day with the new manager, clean slate, move on. This is the new Tottenham. And I think that's the way he's going to work. I think Paratici, he's only just come in, but when you just hear about some of the stuff he says about raising standards, that's going to be the big thing. He ain't going to take any shit. Hang on. That's my mate actually calling to have a chat. Do
you need to jump off for a sec, or?
Yeah, I think No. I'll call him back later. It's just interesting that that's all happened literally on the day that he's officially starting, and all of a sudden, all of these names are coming out as well that we're close to signing, that we're going to start talks with, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting now. Pre-season starts Monday, so looking forward to it now. Just getting stuck in.
I think that excitement will start to build, just the sheer fact of the fact that we have a manager. I still want to apologise to everyone for the lag on the stream. My laptop is overheating at the moment, so I've just closed every other tab to try and cool it down here.
I can hear it, Matt.
Oh, can't you? Look, I apologise. I'll get my question out quickly and then I'll mute myself. But Stuart, we'll come to you on this one. Crocodox with a £5 super chat says, out of all the Deadwood we have, who do you think Nuno will keep? It's not realistic to shift them all, so Nuno is going to have to make a decision. Who do you think will be kept?
Is it me first? Is it?
Yeah, you can take it. Then we'll go to Jack.
Okay. It's difficult because I think we all have a different perception on who the Deadwood is, actually. Man, that is a really difficult question. I think it'll probably be someone like a Winks. I think Winks might survive it. I think people like Lamela, Aurier, Sissoko, I think they'll be gone. I mean, there's just so much of it. I mean, where do you start? But if I had to say one name off the top of my head, I'll probably just say, not that I want it, because I actually think Winks needs to go. I think he just needs a fresh start. But yeah, I'll probably say Winks.
Interestingly, actually, when we do touch on transfers, there is a story about Harry Winks coming out from the Daily Telegraph. Jack, before we come to you, I do want to say there are 940 people watching the stream live right now. So please absolutely obliterate that like button, because what I want to do today, what I wanted to see if we can get done, is get over 1,000 people in a live stream on this channel for the first time. So if you hit that like button, it will get it pushed out to more and more people, and we're trying to get 1,000 people. Also spam the chat with We Love Nuno, because the interaction there as well will get more people in. But Jack, we'll come to you as well. What Deadwood do you think might be kept at Spurs?
Yeah, absolutely. But give Matt Hayes a like, give him the Irish People's Elbow as well on the subscribe. But yeah, which one will Nuno want to see out? That's really the tough one. You know, with Nuno, he looks like a wise man. So to be honest, I'm gonna, as much as I kind of agree with Stuart in that. Unfortunately, I feel like Harry Winks just has that kind of allure, just like maybe that charisma or something like that, where you can win over managers. Tell them give me another chance, boss, whatever it may be. So I kind of agree with Stuart, but maybe just to be different, I'll say that Nuno is wise enough, he's smart enough to see past the likes of the Harry Stinkses, to see past the likes of the Moon Bootses of the world. And so maybe he'll find a way to move them on, ideally. But maybe Daniel Levy might get in his way, you might say, because Daniel Levy might have a bit of an attachment to some of those players. But who's to say? The likes of Aurier and Sissoko would, really good shouts, I think, as well, Stuart. Maybe the one that I would say that Nuno might keep, that might be a surprise. Maybe he'll give someone like Davinson Sanchez another chance, or GPS Sanchez another chance, just because with Davinson, right, he is younger than the likes of Dyer. He is only a year older than Joe Rodon. There's maybe still that possibility, right, that you can give him another chance to maybe at least to even take advantage of like some of the attributes that are his best, which is maybe his pace, being able to get in behind and, match players that are trying to run in behind. And also he seems to be decent in the air, at least, attacking wise, not defending wise, but attacking wise. And
do you know who Sanchez reminds me of in terms of like Nuno is Willy Bolly?
Right.
Willy Bolly became an absolute
real compliment to Sanchez.
Under under Nuno, and I think if there's one player that could go down that road, I think it could be Sanchez.
Right, and even Roman Saiz as well is like a very industrious kind of player, but he's also good on the ball, I will say. But yeah, that's a really good shout. Maybe he'll turn him into some sort of Willy Bolly. But yeah, GPS Sanchez would be the one I would say he maybe gives another chance. But I'm going to be different and say he's going to see past the likes of Winks and Dyer, and he's going to see past the likes of Sissoko and Aurier. And also, these players have been at the club so long as well. Hopefully, he'll see that as also a reason why maybe they need to be moved on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. David, we'll come to you on if you could bring 3 players from Wolves with Nuno Espirito Santo, who would they be?
I'd take Ruben Neves, the midfielder. I'd take Adama Traore, the right winger. And I would say Jimenez, but that's probably a bit unrealistic. I'd probably go with what's that fullback they got in?
Nelson Smith.
El Nazori or something like that.
Oh, I eat Nuri.
Yeah, I'd take him as well. Just on players for Nuno. We could get a reformed Doherty here next season. Hear me out. Like he made Doherty. He made Doherty. He had him in that system. He had him getting into the box. Now with this team, if we can get him doing that down the right hand side and keep getting Redgilon to do what he was doing down the left hand side last season, getting in on the end of things in the edge of the box, we could be a super threat going forward next season. We could have it coming from all angles. And like, if he could reform Doherty, that would be absolutely brilliant, because we do need a right back. I'm sick of looking at Serge Aurier kick the ball into the stands every week. You know, I'm doing the Mexican way of being lucky enough to catch it. I'm sick of it. So we need Doherty in there. So we could get the Irish Roberto Carlos could be coming back out. That'd be brilliant. We also do have to remember that he's great friends with Jose Mourinho. He was a goalkeeper for Jose Mourinho at Porto, and they're very close. So I'm sure, you know, he'd get the inside scoop off Jose, and hopefully Jose just said to him, look, Winks, Moon Boots, you know, Musa Sissoko, you know, players like that, get them out of here. Bobo the Clown, Aurier, get them out of here. I do think he'll keep Ben Davies. That'd kill me, but I do think he'll keep him. But yeah, no, look, he's a big job on his hand, but he's also friends with Pochettino as well. You know, he came to Tottenham, or was it? Yeah, he came to Tottenham and spent a day at Tottenham with Pochettino. And Pochettino also went and spent a day with him. I think it was at Valencia at the time, when he was at Valencia. You know, so they're also good friends. So he'll have a lot of scoop from both managers, and you know, he'll be able to weigh things up and then also see what suits his system. Look, me personally, I do think he needs to rotate the squad. I just hope he's not fooled by like Harry Winks, where, you know, he's like, I'm a Tottenham boy, I'll give you everything. Because at the end of the day, although he gives everything, he's not good enough, and we can't keep holding on to these players. If we're bringing in Nuno for a fresh start, we have to start refreshing the squad too. Because if not, we can just expect what's gone on for the last couple of years unless we rotate the squad. So it's very important that we back this guy, you know, get out some players and get in some fresh blood into this squad. But no, look, it could be positive. It could be positive. And plus, you know, he loves the game against Pep Guardiola. He knows how to beat City too. You know, he knows how to beat United as well. So that'd be good. That'd be good for us. Yeah, look, in terms of players from us, I would love Ruben Neves, because me and Jack were only actually speaking about this earlier, but he's a tempo setter, man. It's what I've been talking about last season, you know, where we don't have someone who's comfortable on the ball, who can slow things down, quicken it up when need be. We always had Modric, Carrick, Moussa Dembele, players like that who were able to do it. So if we could take Ruben Neves and get him to set the tempo, that'd be absolutely brilliant, because that's what he does from at Wolves. Adama Traore can replace Gareth Bale on the right-hand side. That'd be a serious threat. You know, just tell him to get down the side, feed in Kane. We'll get goals that way. And Ait Nouri as well, that fullback, he'll be a good one to bring in as backup to Doherty or somebody like that. That'd be absolutely perfect.
Absolutely.
Do you think he'll go for anyone like Cody? Do you think
I
he'll
would
want
actually
someone
take
like
Cody.
Cody?
Yeah. Still only,
Because Cody was
28?
apparently his right-hand man at Wolves, wasn't he? He was like that sort of like link between the coaching and the players. And I think we absolutely need that. I think we just need someone who's like got that sort of right, real honest mentality. I mean, I think Kane's obviously got it based on some of the stuff he's said when Mourinho was there. But I think Cody, obviously, we need a centre back. He won't cost the earth, because I don't think he's that valuable. But maybe because it's difficult, isn't it? Because we don't really know what the relationship was like with Nuno at the end at Wolves. Did it go the same way as it did with Poch? Did they all sort of lose faith with each other or something like that? Or do they all still actually really want to work together? And it will always be linked with ex-Wolves players now, or Wolves players, because it's just the easy bloody journalism, isn't it? But I just
Cody's a very good shout, though, Stuart. Because with Connor Cody, when Nuno came into Wolves, he actually transferred him from a centre midfielder to a centre back, and gave him a new position, and gave him he said, look, you know, we're aiming to get to the Premier League. You're never going to make it in the Premier League as a midfielder, so I'm going to put you as a centre back. And then from there on out, he flourished and gave him a Premier League career. So Cody would be a good one to get in, because look, he knows what way he wants to play. You know what I mean? And he'll have the back of the Cody straight away. So kind of like Cody is in the England squad, so he'll be able to speak to likes of Harry Kane, and well, it's only Harry Kane at the minute, but like, you know, some of the other players that, you know, could potentially get in the England squad over next season if they have good careers. So yeah, Cody is a good shout, Stuart.
There's a super chat there from Ellie. I just want to get this super chat there really quickly. Ellie says, with the £20, here's some Ben and Jerry's dough for some cookie. Or here's some Ben and Jerry's dough for some cookie dough for all you lads, and save some for Nuno as well. The Wolverine cockerel, whoop whoop. David spot on with backing Nuno. Now we have him and Højbjerg biting the opposition. Ellie, thank you very much again for that super chat, and we'll definitely get some Ben and Jerry's with that one. I do want to thank
Ellie
as well Mario.
She knows what luxury is with the ice cream. She goes for the good stuff.
Absolutely. I want to thank as well Mario, Stan, Fletch, Corey, and everyone else who has subscribed, Paul as well. I do appreciate it. On the road to 10k, we already surpassed 9.2. Let's get to 9.3 as quickly as we can with the 900 people that are watching here live right now. I do want to touch a bit on transfers as well, because that is what this stream was initially supposed to be about. But I just want to go around the house really quickly, because we don't want people to think this is simply a Nuno and Levy loving. Stuart, what is your biggest concern with Nuno being appointed the new manager at Tottenham?
Well, I think it's just how will he handle the squad, because we've now had Pochettino, Mourinho, Mason, who have all had to deal with the same issue, and the same issue is there is a core bunch of players within that squad who just don't give a shit. You know, they do not care. They'll turn up, they'll play a bit of football, get paid their extortionate salaries, and just don't care. So will he be brutal enough, which is what I feel is needed. You know, for people like Lamella, Winks, Sissoko, Aurier, I would just ditch them. I would just put them all in the reserves, let them rot until their contracts run out, because we've got a big enough squad. Like, I remember doing after the season ended, I sort of just did a little note, just putting a starting 11 together and a subs bench based on not having any of those guys anywhere near it, and we could easily field a pretty decent starting 11 and subs bench. So it's just like, get them out, and if we sell them, we sell them. If we don't, we don't. You know, we just need to stop waiting and using these players when they're just not giving anything back. It's a waste of time. We get disappointed all the time with them. So for me, that's the biggest challenge: is what sort of tone is he going to set? But the biggest thing for me is Paratici. That's the massive difference between the start of this season and the start of last season. Is this guy? He will not take any shit. He will, you know, this guy's come from Juventus. You know, he will look at that squad and he'll go, "Are you taking the piss? Aurier, are you actually, you know, real? If you want to go anywhere as a club, are we going to have Musa Sissoko as part of it? Absolutely not." And he'll just figure out a way to get him out of the club. He doesn't care. And it already looks like he's got Levy's ear, because he's convinced him to hire Nuno. So who knows? But yeah, in terms of a negative, that's the one.
Yeah, no, I think a very, very appropriate one. There's a super chat here from Kendai, and I also want to bring some new quotes from Nuno, as per Alistair Gold. Nuno has said, "Having a squad like Tottenham, you can only have one DNA. You can only think one way. We have to enjoy the game. We have to play the game. When you have a squad of quality, talented players like we have, the DNA is to make the fans proud, make them enjoy watching. This is our DNA, to make our fans proud of us. There's no question about it that will happen. We're going to make them proud, and they're going to enjoy the team for sure." So as we heard from Alistair Gold, there is that agreement within whoever's been involved in this appointment within Spurs, that attacking football will be played next season, regardless of what happened with Nuno last year. We do believe it was kind of highlights of Nuno's time at Valencia which convinced Daniel Levy to make this appointment. But just a number of quotes as they do continue to flood in this Wednesday evening as Nuno is appointed manager of Tottenham. Kendai says, "Don't you lads think that Ndombele can play that tempo setter role? I don't think we need Neves." Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, but the thing with Tanguy is that he just needs to be defensively responsible and then be able to also get up and down the pitch as well. He also needs to not be maybe as selfish on the ball, as much as I love him on the ball, as much as he can skin any player there is. You know, tempo setters, you know, they're not focused on all the time, you know, skinning a player when they receive the ball. They're focused on finding, you know, where's the next dynamic or direct pass that I can play that can, you know, stimulate the offense, stimulate, the attack really. And with Tanguy, he's more maybe focused on maybe trying to get by a player, do a 1-2, take it from there, create, you know, some ridiculous goal that obviously he's done before in the past. But it's not as much of the tempo setter role. I just don't think it's in his DNA. I don't think it's what he wants to do. Being the tempo setter as well, as maybe David might know, it's also, it's almost even a bit of an unselfish role sometimes, despite how much you might have the ball. It's a bit unselfish. You have to, you know, just spray the ball left and right. You have to, you know, involve players, you know, even maybe when you don't even want to. And I don't see him being able to do that. Also, his passing range, I think, is brilliant, but I don't see him as maybe as much as, let's say, the Toni Kroos or the Ruben Neves maybe passing range. That's, I guess, what we're kind of talking about. But with also, like I said, again, you know, I don't think he's fit enough, and I don't think he honestly in his DNA or in his mindset is, you know, that defensive guy. He doesn't want to come back and defend next to Højbjerg. He wants to be right behind the striker. He wants to maybe come back every now and again and help out and win the ball back, but he doesn't want to be sitting right in front of the center halves. Not at all.
Yeah, go ahead,
Can
Church.
I just wanted to quickly say something based on, because Jack absolutely nailed it then about his Ndombele's fitness, and there's two very stark things that I've seen over this close season. Is every day I'm seeing on Instagram Dele turning into an absolute beast in training, and I know Dave's shaking his head in disbelief and horror, but Ndombele's just sat on the beach. You know, and it's like if there was one player who actually has to go out and bloody do a bit of working out, it's Ndombele, and these two guys are vying for the same position effectively, because Dele's the same. He doesn't really want to track back. He'll just hang behind like the striker or sort of in that final third and just link the play. But he's actually making an effort to, it seems, impress whoever the new manager was going to be. And I know what Dave's going to say, but I just thought it was quite telling that there's two very, very different close seasons going on for those two players. So it'd be interesting to see who wins out on that.
Yes, Stuart, just quickly. The reason why Dele Alli is doing training and Ronald McDombele, that's why I actually call him Ronald McDombele, because of his fitness. It's been a massive thing. I've been saying it on for a long time now about the guy's fitness. He needs to give up the McDonald's and start working out. But the reason why Dele is out training is because he's done nothing all season. Ronald McDombele actually played. Look, the thing is with Dele Alli, I'm not buying into it. You know, I came into last season off the back of a year and a half of watching his crap, if not longer. You know, saying if he doesn't perform this season, I want him gone. And he done absolutely nothing. For me, look, you know, he might come back all guns blazing, but what? He's going to fall out with Nuno and not play again for another year. At the end of the day, I'm sick of his attitude. It's all me with Dele Alli, right? You know, he's sitting there, oh, guys, follow me on Instagram Live. I'll give away a free watch. Couldn't give a shit. Get on the football pitch and play football. That's what you're paid to do. That's what you're paid to train. You're paid to be fit. You know what I mean? Look, people can say he's doing it now, but that's 2.5 years too late for me. And this is the problem at Tottenham Hotspur. We give these players chances and chances and chances, time and time again. With the likes of Winks here way too long. Or, sorry, not Winks, Stinks, sideways. He's here way too long. The guy's halfway through his football career. He's about another 5 years left at the very top. He can't nail down a position, and he doesn't even know what sort of midfielder he is. No one does. Moon boots, absolutely shocking. We brought him in, believe it or not. He was actually a right back when we got him. We played him centre mid. We've played him centre back. He's done nothing but run into the crowd after fans because his brother's getting abused. If his brother's getting abused, play better on the pitch, and that won't happen. Simple. Solves the problem. You have Ben Davies, Mr. Anonymous, happy to be on the bench. 8 years here at this club. Nearly a testimony. 2 more years, he gets a testimony. 8 years, and he may as well wear a balaclava in every day. He's not good enough to be here. You know, you have Moussa Sissoko. Look, Moussa Sissoko's career, it's been up and down with Moussa Sissoko. Lamela, again, here, 7, 8 years, done absolutely nothing. And with Dele Alli, I just fear we're going to fall into that same trap. And, like, I know it's all good, but, like, this is the thing. Another thing we've seen over the course of last season, and this is why I still get irked over it, is because players coming out speaking in the press. You know, you have Dyer. Oh, I don't know why the fans are giving me grief. Oh, because maybe you stopped performing when we were top of the league. You know what I mean? And you only start performing when we were trying to save Europe. Maybe that's why you got a bit of criticism. He doesn't understand it, right? You have Doherty. Oh, well, maybe we should have done. We could have done a lot more under Mourinho. Okay, but someone good saying it in the press. Go on, do it. After the Arsenal defeat leading into the Zagreb game, how many players came out in the press? We're going to put this right. We're going to put this right. And we got tonked by a Croatian team. A Croatian team. We got absolutely tonked by them. Yeah. And the problem is, I've seen too much last season of people putting up pictures and in the press, but no actions on the pitch. I want to see actions now. I want to see pictures and I want to see headlines. I want to see actions on the pitch. Don't give me all this crap in the press, all these sound bites to make it sound like you're trying and you care. You don't. When I know you care is when I see you on the pitch dying and bleeding for that badge right there. That's when I know you love this club. Not in the press coming out saying I want my ass scattered on the stadium. When I see you physically dropping or physically exhausted like Son does when he comes off, that's when I know to give a goddamn care about this football club. I'm just not falling into Dele Alli's tactics again. Look, he's there with the tattoos. Probably rubbed a bit of baby oil on himself, you know, to get the gleam off the muscles for the picture. It's an absolute joke. Spider on top of his head. Couldn't care about any of that. You know, you can do all that all you want as long as you put it in on the pitch. He sacrificed. So a lot of these players sacrificed Pochettino oh, we don't want to do your trainings 2 days, two times every day. It's too much. You know, I need to go out and try and get myself a girlfriend, date Pep's daughter, or whatever. You know what I mean? And, you know, then Mourinho comes in. It's like, oh, what? You're not going to give me a shoulder massage when you whisper sweet nothings into my ear. Oh, I'm not playing for you. You know what I mean? It's an absolute joke. It's about time these players literally put their head down and worked hard and gave us what we deserve on the pitch. Us fans, we've stuck through this through thick and thin, and we've gone through so much hurt. It's about time they repaid us.
David, he's not even using the baby oil in a tactical way like a Traore does. You know, Traore does it, you know, because when he skins past the player, it's, you know, it's harder for them to pull on his jersey. It's harder for them to pull on him. You know, with Dele, like you said, you know, it's all for the pictures, you know, for the preseason jersey and whatnot. It's all to make the muscles and the tattoos shine a bit more.
But not only that, and this,
can I just jump in there?
It's another problem. Sorry, man. I know I'm ranting on here, but you just got to let a bird be free. You know, you have to let him fly. So
no,
look, with the likes of some of these.
It's just the super chats piling up, so I just want to get to those. I didn't want to cut you off.
Sorry,
fantastic rant too. It was unbelievable. We've Jason Whale with the £5 says, listen to Quad Returns.
Can you come back to me, because I actually have more to add to it?
Oh, absolutely. God, I'm not gonna end this content there. Jason Whale says, listen to Quad Returns. He's a Wolves fan and rates Nuno, but is reminding us he's a defensive coach. You cannot complain now when we watch Dross. Jason, it's a good point, and I will have Dave as a party from Talking Wolves on the channel tomorrow, and he will tell us all about that defensive mindset, which he's already alluded to talking to me on Twitter. Ellie says, St. Maximan much better than Adama Traore. We should be busting our gut to get him. The guy's in Dembele, but not fat, as David says, and on burgers. He's fit and can be the creative player that can link or play to attack. Ellie, you're absolutely smashing it with the super chats tonight. Thank you very much for that one. We've got Marcelo with the $2, says Nuno time. Marcelo, I'm glad to see the confidence there. Thank you very much for the super chat as well. Paul Markey with the €5 says, with all the players we've been linked with, the one that stands out is Frank Hezia. He's Moussa Dembele, MK2. Thank you very much for that, Paul, and a good point as well. I think Kezia is a very good option for us. And Ralph Bryce donating £10 as well. Ralph, thank you very much for that.
Tempo setter.
I do appreciate it. And yeah, he definitely will be that tempo setter. And the reports from him coming apparently straight from his agent, which is good. David, we're going to come back to you on this one, and then I think we will wrap it up there, because I don't know how much more my laptop can take, because the lag is apparently really bad at the moment. But David, finish your rant, and I think we'll wrap it up then.
Yeah, and the reason why these players have been allowed to get into this false sense of security where they think they can sack managers, and look, it's all contributed why it took to us getting so long to be able to find a manager, because, you know, they got Pochettino sacked, they got Mourinho sacked, they just stopped playing for them. Yeah. They got them sacked, and they know they have the power. And the reason why they do it, and a lot of these players, is because you take our squad, you know, maybe you could break down half and half, right? Half of our players will never play at another club like Tottenham Hotspur. They'll never reach this level again. So their way of living is going to take a decline. Footballing name in their career is going to take a decline. So they all band together and say, well, let's get this guy out. You know what I mean? Let's get another manager in so we can prolong staying here. Because, you know, we don't want to be found out. And the reason why that's been allowed to happen is because what really concerned me is players were not happy Steve Hitchen was removed from his position and given another role. Now, if he was in charge of getting rid of them, I'd question, why are they unhappy? They're unhappy because they were probably buddy sitting there in the canteen, you know, sharing a sandwich, chicken club sandwich with each other, whatever. You know what I mean? And the fact that, like, you know, no one wanted to be cutthroat and get rid of them. But the thing is, what we have to learn now, football is the most cutthroat business there is. You know, and we have to start acting like that. And this is why I'm so glad, in a way, Paratici is there, because he won't have any of that crap. He's Italian. He's not gonna, you know, Winks comes in with a bottle of champagne, you know, that get me through another transfer window sound. You know, I mean, Paratici said, I'll have that, but you're going to Milan. You're not Milan, sorry, you're going to Sampdoria or somewhere tomorrow, Winks, you know. But thanks very much.
Milan under 23s.
Thank you. And this is the problem. Like, we've allowed this coach to build up by making excuses for these players and everything else, and letting them feel far too comfortable that they can just use Tottenham as their own cash cow and do what they want. You know, I'll perform today, next week I won't, you know. And that's been allowed by Steve Hitchen being in the role he's been in, being friends with players, and Levy as well. You know what I mean? Being too friendly with these players, you know. And we this is why it's took so long to get these managers in, because any manager, and I've said this a long time before we sat Jose Mourinho, man, you know that I sat here on your watch long saying it. We sat Jose Mourinho, we were going to find it hard to get another manager, because all these managers are friends, you know. You know, when Gary Neville was offered the Valencia job, he was rang by Pochettino, Nuno Espirito Santo, and all these sort of people and say, you do realize you will get sacked within a couple of months, no matter what job you do. So the thing is, club's reputations follow them. And this is what I'm trying to get at. And when you're looking from the outside in, Pochettino and Jose Mourinho, whether Spurs fans like them or not, he's one of the greatest managers to ever grace the game. So is Pochettino, one of the hottest properties right now in management. Any manager looking from outside in is going to be like, well, they're not both bad managers. What's the common denominator? The players. And that's why it took us so long to get a manager. And we can never allow this to happen ever again. Look, not only that, but Levy and money and everything else. But, we can never, ever allow our football club to get into this position again. We have to start being more ruthless, start adopting, the fan mentality of like Man United and other clubs like that, where you don't perform within a season or a year and a half. They want you gone, and they won't rest until you're gone. We need to start adapting like that, because, look, we have a chance now where we can kind of, put things right, go next season and try and get back top four, UEFA the Cup, whatever. Do it in mini steps, whatever. But we were very in a lot of danger of losing the club we love, the identity we had. You know what I mean? And not knowing where this club was going and arguing over two managers that, like, one got relegated and one finished just above them. We can never allow our club to get into that situation again. Yep. So, look, and it all stems with the players on the pitch.
It's all about standards, Dave. All the best clubs have the highest standards. You don't see the Man Cities and all the other top clubs pissing about with players, with coaches, with anything. It's bang, sorted straight away. Doesn't matter if you piss someone off or you upset someone. If you want to win, that's what it's about. And I do generally believe that's what Paratici's here to do. It might take a season, it might take 2 seasons, but I generally think him being here will change things, because we just haven't had someone of that caliber with that experience at one of the top clubs in football at the club. Yeah, we've had Comely, you can say all that stuff, that's fine, but they were never at huge clubs that were consistently winning stuff. Paratici has done that. So I generally think that will change the mentality around the club, where that sort of the stuff you're talking about, Dave, which is absolutely spot on. I think we are in a bit of a civil war situation where half the club is of that right mentality and half the squad isn't. And it's the battle of, we've got to figure out who's going to win on each side to get to that starting 11, and something that will actually do well next season, because doing what we did last season can't happen again.
Yeah.
And just quickly to follow on to that. The thing is with Nuno as well, right? When you look at his teams, you never ever see any bad press coming out about his players. Never any stories coming out about his squad, any riffs in the squad. And one thing I'll give to him, right? They all work for the same cause. They all work from the same cause. And a lot of people are going to say, look, maybe he didn't play the most prettiest football. I agree. But with Wolves, he brought them up from the Championship. It was about consolidating them to being a Premier League team. And whatever's gone on, maybe the owners, because they have money, they want to try and push on and break the elite. They've never seen a better time to do it than now, I'd say. Right? If you're like a Wolves or an Aston Villa chairman, to try and break in. But with Nuno, maybe he can play a lot better football, because we have a lot better players to play on the front foot. With Wolves, a lot of his football was designed to keep them in the game till about 65, 70 minutes and then try and go and get the game. With Tottenham, he can go and try and go for the game from the off. You know what I mean? So, look, it could be very positive. And if he can come in and get them all working in the one direction and working in the one way and all pulling the same way and willing to fight for each other on the pitch, we could be onto something. If he can bring what he done with that at Wolves to Tottenham, we could definitely be onto something.
Yeah, I hope we are. And there's honestly nothing I'd love more than to continue this discussion, continue this debate. But my laptop, I'm sure you can hear it. I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Sounds like you're fighting wrestlers.
Oh God, I wish I was. Another super chat there from Ellie with £10 says Wolves were not defensive at all. They battered us in every match we played against them, especially the match we won 3-2 at theirs a few seasons ago. They slaughtered us at White Hart Lane when they beat us 3-2 as well. Ellie, thank you again for the super chat, and fully agree with you there. There are different types of Wolves that we have come up against in the last couple of seasons. But everyone, we are going to have to wrap it up there. It's been an incredible stream. We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. We've had over 11,000 people join us. We're at 427 likes. So the 700 people that are left in that live chat, please do smash that like button. Let's see if we can get to 500 before the stream ends. I do want to remind you that we're going to have Dave as a party from Talking Wolves on the channel tomorrow to tell you everything you need to know about Nuno, and I'll also be doing an in-depth tactical analysis of him in the next couple of days. And the transfer discussion that we were planning on having today. We will push that back a few days. I can guarantee we'll have another fantastic panel on to talk about Jules Koundé, as Tottenham have today gone in contact with Jules Koundé's agents. We've made an official bid for Takahiro Tamiyasu worth £18 million, including $3 million in add-ons. Some other stories just to mention as well. Duncan Castles has said that Harry Kane is pushing for a move away from Tottenham this summer, and nothing has changed since his public statements, but Fabio Paratici is insistent that the player will remain at Spurs this season. The Telegraph Sport have said that Aston Villa are keeping an eye on Harry Winks. We do need to note as well, Gareth Bale and Carlos Vinicius, as of midnight tonight, will no longer be Spurs players as their loans expire. Gianluca Di Marzio is saying that Fabio Paratici wants Tottenham to sign Milan Skriniar. Inter Milan are demanding €60 million for the centre-back. Corriere della Sera have said Tottenham are in contact with Joaquin Correa over a potential transfer. The forward has made it clear to Lazio that he's decided to leave the club. Time Sport. Oh, I'd absolutely love him in. Time Sport says Tottenham have held talks with Fiorentina over signing striker Dusan Vlahovic, and the Tottenham have renewed their interest in Max Aarons. Stuart, you can be head of the scouting if you want. Julian Lawrence of ESPN.
I'll be better than Hitchin.
Oh, it's not hard. Julian Lawrence of ESPN says Spurs were close to signing Martial before he made the move to Man United from Monaco 5 years ago. He thinks Spurs will be interested in signing him as he'll be much cheaper than what United paid for him. And finally, Ebola are saying that Sporting Lisbon have told Spurs that midfielder João Palhinha will now cost way over €30 million. So if you do want to be kept up to date with all of those stories, all of the inside, the analysis, absolutely everything, please do hit that subscribe button. Like I said, hit that like button on your way out. Thank you to the panel for coming on tonight. And I asked them on for 9 and I sent them on early, said I'm going live. Whatever, and I do appreciate all three of you for joining me before the agreed time. It's very, very kind of you, and thank you all for your input tonight. I'd love to go around, but I'm afraid my laptop's going to blow up in my face. So everyone, check David out on YouTube, check them all out on Twitter. Hit that subscribe button, like all that good stuff. As always,
I'll do it in 2 seconds. The Irish Hotspur, follow me. I have a fan show tomorrow. Then I have Jack answer me tomorrow after that. 2 great shows, but make sure you smash or subscribe on Matt Hayes' channel. I want him to get to 10k. I knew he'd get to 10k before the season starts. Let's make it happen and keep following Matt Hayes. He's brilliant at what he does, and that's why we nearly broke 1,000 live watching today, because he's so good. So make sure you follow Matt Hayes and the Irish Hotspur. Big up.